Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to healing from narcissistic abuse and toxic people around you, how you can find balance in the whole thing. So let's jump in. Finding balance after narcissism, and anytime you're trying to find healing, it's really to balance the situation, because balance is the best you can get. On a daily basis, you want to keep your life level and not have too many ups and downs. Really, the best way to live is to be as level as you can. You're gonna have joyous times and some down times, but when you live level, you're able to deal with it at any moment of the day. And what's most important is your hormones will be level. And if your hormones are level, then it'll be easier to stay level during any situation, because you won't have used them all up. I don't know if you're aware, but when you go out, say, drinking and partying, or tons of excitement, a lot of that stuff is fake excitement. But nevertheless, when you have those nights, you will have used up all of your dopamine. And then the next following days, you may deal with some sort of depression or downtime, extra low periods. That's why people talk about being stoic a lot. They don't really mean to be stoic, but to find balance in most situations. And if you expend too much of that dopamine, say partying and drinking and stuff, which I said before is really a lot of fake joy that comes from that. You're laughing and stuff, but is it really fun? Is it really what you truly wanted to do? Or at least originally, it probably started out as some sort of peer pressure when you were a child, and then it rolled into a ball of drinking and partying, and then you started to tell yourself you enjoyed it, or you started to have an addiction or a taste for it, but you didn't have a taste for it originally, and you didn't like it originally, if you were to be honest with yourself. Because those types of things take an acquired form of taste, because they taste nasty the first few times, several hundred times you drink. So you started out of peer pressure at a younger age, and you didn't want to do it to begin with. And a lot of people don't want to talk about peer pressure because you grew up in a narcissistic household. You're going to be feeling a little bit more inferior than people that grew up in a regular home, right? And because of that, you're going to hang out with more narcissistic type people. That's just a fact. You're going to hang out with lower feeling vibrational people. And that's because you were made to feel that way, and they were either made to feel that way as well, or they truly like that way. So they would be the bully, the leader of that type of stuff. And the people that go along with it, they can imitate it just as well sometimes, to where you don't know if they're doing it out of peer pressure or doing it out of enjoyment. So when you're a child, I'm talking about when you're a child, empaths can get started on things that weren't very good for them, but they started them out of a peer pressure situation. Because when you grow up in a narcissistic household, not only is it a low vibrational group of people you're going to hang out with, but it's also going to be people that think similar to your family. And you as well, because you're going to be a little bit narcissistic, at least if you're a black sheep, because that's all you know. I mean, you may not even like the way your family acts and operates, but you can't do anything about it, so you're stuck. So you do catch on to some of those ways of thinking, or you're not able to explore like you would like to. And with that limitation, regular people won't hang out with you, or higher vibrational people, because when they come over, the narcissistic people in your household will ruin it. They'll ruin it by belittling you, or just the way that they live in general. Just having to live around certain people because you're stuck there because you're a child will put you on a low vibration. Dealing with them every day and not being able to control it or help it or change it, not having the finances or the ability at that young age, but you still have to be a part of it, at least till you're 18, so you're kind of screwed. This is how you're entrapped as a child. And as an adult, they entrap you with marriage, quick marriage, then the mask comes off, finances like a joint account with a home, joint account with credit cards and cars, and then children. These are all ways that they threaten you. But when you're a child, you're entrapped by just the mere being born into it and not having the ability, the age, the finances, or the opportunity or any kind of way to get out of it. It's impossible, so you're stuck. The narcissist likes to get people stuck. And for people that they have as lovers that they're not married to, they like to keep them stuck. It could be to get you caught up. I don't know, maybe they know something you don't like so much about yourself. Possibly, I mean, that has happened a lot. I've heard a lot of stories about that. Or they've taped you in an awkward position, recorded you, and then they extort you when you try to leave or threaten you. So you don't even try to attempt to. There's a lot of different things they do. If it's a man narcissist and a woman toxic enabler or empath that's starting to wake up, they could be intimidated just physically, the overpowerment of the situation. And when it comes to women, they're more manipulative. So they would do more of the lying, and the threats would come from having intercourse with other people and then controlling those individuals to control you by jealousy, third party triangulation, and threats coming from the outside like that. Or even in the courts, you know, a woman's going to look better, they're going to be more sided with because they are the weaker physically of the bunch, but not mentally. I don't know, I think I would rather have a female attorney rather than a man. It just depends on who the individual is, and that's how it should be. But when it comes to balance, you want to be kind of along the lines of more of that stoic type attitude. You only give your emotional stuff, if you can help it, to your partner, your family, or your love partner, whoever it is that you trust and you confide in and you know you can. And they're going to be loyal to you and just those type of people, the real ones, not the toxic situation and not the toxic family. They have a good love partner. Like once you heal, you know, a lot of that joy is going to be spent with them. And a lot of your times when you're down and out, it's better if you spend it more with them. It's not always going to be the case, but that I think is the in best case scenario. You do have a reputation, but a lot of times it's you getting your emotions to match what you think. I was thinking about this, and that's what happens when people become toxic enablers, or even the narcissist becomes who they are. I think that the emotions, and this may take a few more podcasts to deliver, but I think that the emotions don't match your thoughts. You know, you may be with somebody, but do you like being with them? Do you like the way they treat you? And I'm talking from a level head balanced situation of how they should treat you, and your thoughts of what treatment should be has to be balanced. So you have to be walking in your truth as well. That's part of balance. So first you have to have the truth of what should be. And that could be subjective, but technically it's kind of more objective, at least the stance on the medium level of it. I mean, how somebody should be treated, there's a mediocre level of what should be average. I mean, there is a bare minimum to everything, but if you can get more precise with it, with your truth and your justice and what should be deserving, and if you can get pinpoint with that, then from there, you match your emotions up with it. How should I feel right now? You know, do I like the way they treat me? And then you have to ask yourself, are you treating them the same way? Are you giving as much? Or are you being the same? Or do you just not match up? You're not equally yoked. But when you can balance your emotions with your thoughts, that's why to some degree it works best in hermit mode, because when you're in hermit mode, you're by yourself. That's what that kind of means. And you're going to heal on your own. What hermit mode would be is kind of like going to work and coming home. Your spare time, not really talking to anybody outside of whatever you have to do business-wise. Just do your business, and all of your personal time is spent with you alone. It's going to be you focusing on you. So it's not going to be you alone watching TV all the time. you kind of spending some time in quiet, meditating. Or if you're kind of fidgety, like I can be, you find something that will help you to meditate while you're doing it. Like I do these wood puzzles I've been doing lately. I'm putting this wood puzzle together, but I'm really meditating. But it gives me something to do while thinking deep thoughts about how I can proceed or how I can heal. What comes into your vessel is going to come out, but you want to be balanced with it. So you're not going to be always some reverent person. You got to understand, this is what a lot of these dictators in the church can be like. So I'm not like that. I believe in the Lord, and I love the Lord. I have my struggles with him, yes. But I always come at him with my truth, even if it's hard. You can't be in the church and be a strong-armed dictator. You can have your morals, ethics, and values and talk about them, but you're not always going to be on top of that at a level to where you're non-sinnable, you know? So it's really you finding balance in it is the best way. Knowing those, and you know, that's your general response to the thing, is to know what the best way to operate and to be is. Also, you don't want to be so hard with it, like a hardliner or a staunch, like they would say, a staunch Democrat or Republican or staunch Muslim or staunch Christian or whatever. Those people are never fun to be around because they, generally speaking, you're always wrong still. It's almost like a self-righteous way of operating around in their life for others. And although they can never have fun, you know, they can never drink a beer, or they can never listen to something that's ungodly or something, you know what I mean? And that's just not how life is going to be, to live balance. If we all found balance, we'd all be okay. And, you know, there could be times where you're going to be more of a living maybe more hardline, but that would have to be personal. You can't put that on people. So if you wanted to be a hardliner, you can, but you can't push it on people because nobody is really is expected to be quite like that, in my opinion, because I've been at those places before and they never work. I feel like you become self-righteous and there's always a problem with something because we're living in a sinful world. So like for people, okay, so for people who don't celebrate holidays, that sort of thing, it just becomes worse and worse. So balancing your emotions with your thoughts, and with toxic people, you have to think and come from a head space, which is a logical space, not a heart space, not an emotional state, because your emotions can be hijacked because your emotions are out here. Of course, you got to have good self-love, and you work on your self-love. Your boundaries is what shows your self-love. You can say you have self-love, but we'll see it in your boundaries, because if you fold in your boundaries when you shouldn't have, it's just saying that you're voicing your boundaries, that you have good boundaries, but you're not implementing them. So you have to have self-love first, and boundaries are what comes along with that. You have to have truth first of how people should be in balanced situations, how they should be treated. And if you can't understand balance of truth, then you're not going to have any of it. So truth comes first, and then what is just. You have to fight for what's just. You have to be willing to stand up for what's just. It comes with truth. A lot of times, though, you want to stay out of other people's business. I'm talking about the truth and justice for what's your business. Because getting involved in other people's business will get you caught up in a third-party mess real quick. You have to take in each individual case as it comes. I'm not trying to get involved in what the neighbor is doing. If he's cheating on his wife or something, that's between him and her. Chances are she knows and he knows. And for you to get involved is for you to ask for a hole in the head. That's how a lot of domestic disputes start. People get involved in other people's business when they could both be toxic over there doing stupid stuff. and then trying to act different, getting you involved, or you getting yourself involved because you think it's the just thing to do. Don't get involved in other people's business. It's just best not to. Just be concerned more about what you're doing and how you're living. A lot of times you and I have work to do for us to be judging others. It's not necessarily that. You only have the right to judge others. For an instance, the situation with me where my ex, she dragged me into this situation by lying about me and talking behind my back and making up a bunch of lies and fake truths or whatever, things people started to believe about me, defaming, character assassinating my lifestyle and my integrity, and trying to destroy my life. They can't be on the inside anymore, so they try to destroy it from the outside. God forbid you ever let them back in to the center of your castle. They would destroy it from the inside out very quickly. That's why you don't ever want to let toxic people in your house, and you don't want them in your inner circle. That's why you kind of try to save your emotions and your emotional situations for your love partner or people close to you. Now, the toxic person will do that a lot of times too, but they do it where they just unload on their love partner because they don't love them. But you can't just throw it on your love partner, and you can't attack your love partner, put all that stress on their back. And you shouldn't have that kind of stress on a daily basis like the narcissist does. The narcissist is always doing F-ish. So they're always going to have some sort of stress they're dealing with and some sort of bad behaviors that you have to pay for, because they don't pay for any of it because they don't have any love. I'm talking about a responsible couple. And it shouldn't always be you that has the need for someone to listen to. They have to have a chance as well. Equal reciprocity. I'm all about equal reciprocity in anything. Somebody can make more money. You could make more money. That's not what I'm really talking about, but that would pertain as well. You can't have your partner making a lot more money than you and you blowing it all, you not being responsible or feeling like you should control it. It's really their money if they're the one making it all, or at least that part of it. If they want to include you and you're going to be responsible and you're not going to be trying to steal it out from under them, treating them where you can be trusted, that's up to them, for that individual. But if they want to keep it somewhat separate and take care of their end if they want to, that's something between the two of you. A lot of times there's somebody there that's going to try to exploit the situation because they don't have love and they don't care and they're somewhat of a thief or a liar. And if they're not a narcissist, they may be highly narcissistic in that area. Somebody who can take care of them instead of just meeting somebody with the natural aspects of things to where they respect everything. I don't know how to explain it. I don't think you can. It should be innate. In my opinion, when it came to finances and how it should ebb and flow, that to me has always been innate. I've never tried to exploit somebody financially. I've never tried to be unbalanced financially, and I've never borrowed money I didn't pay back, and I would do it before I would eat. But I very rarely, and I'm talking about even with my family, like my parents, there's a couple times where I borrowed a little bit of money off them and I paid them right back. I don't like having that yoke of bondage over me. I don't like having that I owe somebody. If that's one of my very good places of integrity, it would be that you best believe if you ever loan me anything, you're going to get it right back, or it's going to be the number one thing on my mind. I can honestly say that's something I've always been very good about, on top of. I'll end it there for this session. That's pretty much what I wanted to get at is, you know, a lot of times your thoughts don't agree with your emotions, and that's where you start to have these problems where you're unbalanced or confused. And to get those in order after leaving toxicity, it takes kind of like a hermit mode where you can spend that time alone, and when you're drawing, your energy is going to come back to you because you're cutting off all these cycles that you have out there. And you could have cycles open with people for years with people using you and abusing you and you allowing it, or allowing them to keep them open. So it gives you time to think about how you are being used, and you're unaware, and you have been for years. because you're in solitude and you're drawing that energy back and you become a different person. At some point when you emerge from the home, you're going to be a different person. If you stay in solitude and you spend your personal time alone and you quit talking to people, even at work, the extra chatter, it shuts down. It's not necessary. And it's also where familiar spirits start to, or monitoring spirits, they begin to try to get information because that may be the only place they can. Because there is a unit or body of the enemy out there that works all in unison as a body together to come at light workers. And they need monitoring spirits or familiar spirits. So you're going to break generational curses this way. That's how you balance things. Thank you for watching.